So it's been a bit since I've done any videos or updates on the 4Runner. I think since I actually first recorded it in 2019, so there's been a bit that's changed to it. So figured I'd go ahead and give you an update now that I had the opportunity to do it. So I think I'm just gonna go back to front. You'll probably see why here in a second. And then I will go inside and see how things have changed over the last year and a half. So here we go. So the first thing are these rather cool looking American flag window stickers that a lot of other 4Runners and I think Jeeps as well have had that I've seen around town. So I figured I'd get some myself. Got these online and had them put on professionally, since I'm not super skilled at doing these kinds of graphics and decals like that. There's one on this side and one on the other side. And I think that's probably my favorite change so far. And then next up, the other changes that I've made are the headlights. So about a year ago, last April I think, somewhere in there, I decided to get all new headlights and turn signals. So I replaced both front headlights, and then down here both of these, and then I refinished these fog lights since those were substantially more expensive, surprisingly, to just replace. So I just refinished them, and then there's obviously the other turn signal there, and it wasn't too bad of a job really. Just there's some screws here and here and then one underneath, and then the whole thing basically just pulls out and the new one goes in. These were probably even easier. You just basically undo a couple of bolts on the back, and then this whole both at the same time, if it'll focus, will pop out, and then you just they snap together. You put the two back in and pop it back in, bolt it, and you're good to go. So the next thing that I did is the original hood struts. See how much better that is now. The original hood struts, these things here and here, were starting to get kind of weak over time, and they eventually got to the point where they would just hold the hood up for a little bit and then it would come crashing down, so I ended up having to prop it up, and it got to the point where I didn't want to have to do that anymore. So I just went to Rock Auto and put in these new tough supports on both sides. It was like $20, 2 minute, or probably $20, 20-minute job, probably. Not that big a deal at all, really. And now the hood doesn't crash down. Another thing I did last spring too, around the time I did the headlights, is the spark plugs. So actually, I'm gonna get a flashlight and show this. So the spark plugs were actually not too bad of a job. Just these this side was a little bit harder. Just the coils there come off, and then this side was pretty easy. You basically just swing the air cleaner out of the way, and it's all there. So those were done. Runs just great after that. Ran good before, but even better after. So that was the spark plugs. Also, just since it was due, I had the power steering fluid and the brake fluid changed. Much lighter, much better. And interestingly enough, the steering after felt like a little smoother almost, if you will. So I kind of thought that was interesting. So with that said, we'll close this up. Makes a huge difference with those new struts, man. And with that, that brings us to the big one, the suspension. So I had noticed that over the last month or so, that when I was driving with the windows down, the right rear, I think I'll go around on the other side, but anyways, the right rear tire area was making this like clanking or like metal, almost chain rattling sound, kind of. And what I had actually thought is that some parts in the parking brake assembly in there came loose, or the spring broke or something, and was causing that to rattle around. But that was not the case. After looking around, I found out that the right rear shock was loose. So the rubber bushing part was gone, and it just was kind of flopping around in there with some washers. So that had to get checked out, and turns out not just the right rear shock needed replaced, but also the left rear shock over here. And also, since they're all the same age, since they were last done around 2010, 2011 or so, I think, that the two on the front also needed redone in there. And another thing that I had sort of known about, but not totally, if you can see it down in here, is the front CV joints had gotten worn out and needed replaced because the boots had split and spun out all the grease. They hadn't really gotten bad yet, so to say, but they were going to, so it was pretty well just time to get it done. So that all got done. It's good. It rides even better than it did before. So I'm happy on that. And with that said, let's go inside. So I think the next thing I did last winter was I got these all-weather floor mats. They are official Toyota. They say 4Runner in the correct font, just like on the tailgate. They're a nice rubber. I still have the original carpet mats if I want them, but depending on where I'm going and what I might be doing with the car, if I'm going to end up getting the inside particularly dirty or muddy or something like that, I put these in. So I'm quite happy with those. I got them in both the front and the back, all the way around. So that's nice. And then I think the only other update is I got an XM radio for in here. So that's nice. Don't have to drive around and change the station all the time. So that's all nice and good. And one last thing, but I'll need to put the key in for that, so just a second. That's right, we are officially at 190,000 miles. So that was a milestone it hit recently, just this month, and I was pretty happy about that. It's getting old, man, but yep, 190,000 miles. Here's to many more. So anyways, that's all the fun and interesting updates with the 2003 Toyota 4Runner. Hope you all enjoyed. Thank you all very much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye, everybody.